This is Dennis Dragotta with Real America 2010. This is edition 11. My purpose here today is to respond to some comments that I've received from some people, and they were very courteous in their comments, but they disagreed with the way that I think about politics. They disagreed about many of the things that I said, and I wanted to respond specifically to one, maybe two of those things today. Brad and Bubba, two guys, very kind. They added me, they subbed me, and I did the same for them. They just don't agree with what I say. Well, I want to tell you a little story. The story basically, when I was a kid, my parents bought me a car. It was a nice car. I was working, I was a responsible kid, and I was supposed to make payments on that vehicle. Well, I lost my job through no fault of my own. I wasn't able to make those payments, but I wasn't really enthusiastic about getting another job, especially something I didn't want to do. So I fell behind on the payments, and eventually my parents had to pick up the tab. They paid for the car, and of course, I heard about that for a long, long time. I had good parents. I understand why they did it. They wanted to teach me that I can't just walk away from a responsibility. Now, from Brad and from Bubba, I keep hearing, and not just from them, from a lot of Republicans. Oh, we're really tired of hearing about George Bush and what George Bush did. Well, damn it, until you admit to what George Bush did, we are going to keep telling you about what George Bush did, okay? Like my parents, I'm here to try to teach you something. I like to think that I'm not being arrogant when I say this, but in the 8 years, item number one, in the 8 years of George Bush, let's talk about tax cuts. Tax cuts. Give us tax cuts. We'll create jobs. Give us tax cuts. We'll expand our industry here in the United States. Well, not only did that not happen, but the opposite happened with the tax cuts. The CEOs, corporate America, took that money, stuck it in their back pocket, lived like pigs in a trough, did whatever they wanted to do, and we lost jobs. Now, these are clowns that don't pay a lot of tax money, okay? It is the lower end of the spectrum that really generates tax income. But if there's no jobs out there, guess what? You're seeing today that states and cities can't afford to pay their employees because tax revenue is gone because middle class jobs are gone. Not CEOs. Those bastards are still working. They're still stealing our money. Okay? 8 years of tax cuts didn't do a damn thing for this country. It's time to tax those people, let them put some money back in the coffers so we can pay teachers and police officers, ambulance attendants, firemen, people that are working, middle class America. The belly of this country slides only when it's full on middle class America working because CEOs don't do squat for this country. In fact, what they do, they take their businesses to third world nations, to sweatshops, and pay people 35 and 40 cents an hour. And that's it. The jobs are gone here. This country's falling apart right now. It's because of the CEOs, Enron, all those quality human beings that are doing so much for us. That's a bunch of crap, okay? It's not happening, guys. Brad, Bubba, anybody else wants to listen to me? I know that Obama has made a ton of mistakes. I'm angry with him, okay? I don't think he has the intestinal fortitude to take on 4 more years and face Republicans. But 8 years of self destruction with George Bush is not going to be repaired in 1 or 2 or 3 terms by some guy like Obama, who, in my opinion, has the best of intentions, just may not be tough enough to do it. Let's talk about one other thing. I don't know if you guys understand this stuff, and I'm sure that you read and stuff, but do you actually live it? And I'm going to tell you some personal experiences. I have a mother that's elderly, and she's struggling to exist on what she gets from Social Security, and she worked all of her damn life, okay? And she's getting nickeled and dimed to death, and she's really having a hard time. But let's talk about something else right now. Let's talk about education in America. Now, you heard today that we're number 12 in the world. Guess who's number one? Those terrible socialists in Canada. They're number one. Those terrible, horrible people that give their people health care. that give their people an education. They're number one, guys. How do you spin that? Okay? How do you put a spin on that crap? It's ridiculous, okay? We keep bad mouthing socialism. We keep bad mouthing the Canadians. They didn't hit, they weren't hit by the recession like we were. Their kids are going to college. We have more and more kids every day that cannot go to college because college costs are going up and up and up. And guess who's getting the money? It's not the teachers. Come on, man. It's the chancellors. Okay? It's the big wigs. It's the football coaches. So, in the interim of all this, we got kids that can't go to school, can't afford it. Used to be you could get a Pell Grant if you're in the financial window, the window of opportunity. You could actually go to school in the Pell Grant. That's coming apart. Now kids who have no money are being forced to pay for their books and everything, and they can't do it. They have to go to work. And guess what? No jobs. There's no damn jobs. So, guys, what do you do? What do you do in a case like this? Republicans, come on. They don't want to extend unemployment. Okay? They don't want to put a nickel in the Main Street. They found, and let's talk about stimulus because stimulus money started with George Bush. And unfortunately, like I said, I don't think that Obama has the intestinal fortitude to look people in the eye and do what needs to be done. Okay? And that stimulus money should not have gone to Wall Street. It should have gone to Main Street direct. Because I'll tell you what, if you take people that are struggling and you write them a check for $15,000, what do? They put the money a little bit in the bank. They pay their power bill. They buy food. They buy a new TV. The money goes right back into the economy. Now, you put it in Wall Street, nobody knows where the hell it went. It went to CEOs' pockets. It probably went to politicians' pockets. It probably went to congressmen's pockets. Okay? Senators, House of Representatives. Because it certainly didn't come down here. And there certainly isn't any money available for small business. But it's out there. They got the money. What did they do with it? They put it away. So you took the people that destroyed the country, okay, George Bush and Wall Street, you give them a bunch of money and carte blanche and say, hey, well, go do what you want to do. We don't need oversight on these criminals, do we? Of course not, Republicans. We don't need oversight. We don't need any watchdog groups to watch over people that are known to be criminals. And let me tell you something, Wall Street is just full of criminals. They might not look like the thug that you see on TV, but they're the worst thugs that we have in this country right now. This is Dennis Dragotta telling you better think, okay? And when you talk about something and you respond to something that I have said, respond to what I've said. Don't bring something else into the argument. Reduce it to the ridiculous. Take it to its lowest common denominator and talk about that issue. 8 years, tax cuts, no jobs. All right? How are you going to make that into tax cuts and jobs? It doesn't work. You're giving the money to the people who kept it last time, have no plan, and have no intention of doing anything with the money again. They don't give a damn about us, and it's killing this country. This is Dennis Dragotta with Real America. This is the 11th edition.